Gavin has been a STEM educator for 17 years and holds a master's in education. His focus on engineering for social good, design thinking, and developing an ecosystem of innovation with his students has earned him numerous recognitions, including the first Robotics Woody Flowers Finalist Award, the ITEEA Teacher Excellence Award, and the Lawrence W. Pracken Professional Cooperation Award. As the STEAM Director for the Barstow School in Kansas City, Gavin designs curriculum that reinforces user-centered design and the empathy part of the engineering design process. In his role as head coach of a World Championship level FIRST Robotics team, Wood developed a global partnership with Go Baby Go, which creates adaptive technology to help children with mobility challenges. Wood founded and operates an online forum, and I will share that text with you, the link with you in the chat. It connects families in need with Go Baby Go chapters worldwide and provides how-to manuals to teach others how to make adaptive technology for children in their communities. To encourage more STEM programs to incorporate adaptive technology projects into their curriculum, Wood and his wife, Andrea, collaborated with ITEEA on the creation and launch of REACH Challenge, an impactful, adaptive, and assistive technology design thinking project for middle school, high school, and college students. Andrea Wood is an award-winning journalist, graphic designer, and former newspaper editor who received her degree in public relations and graphic design from the University of Central Missouri. She currently serves as the president of the University of Central Missouri Student Publications Board and secretary of the University of Central Missouri Digital Media Production Advisory Board, mentoring college students entering a variety of communication fields. Andrea's passion for mentorship has impacted students from elementary school through college. In her favorite role as a mom, Wood has been a room parent and coordinator for 7 years. For 10 years, Andrea has volunteered as a mentor for several FIRST Robotics teams. Her work with FIRST Robotics helped guide the team to earn 3 NASA-sponsored Engineering Inspiration Awards and 2 Chairman's Awards. Wood also helps coordinate and facilitate the team's partnership with Go Baby Go. Inspired by these experiences, Gavin and Andrea co-founded Iterate Innovations, LLC to assist and support a variety of STEM education endeavors, including collaborating with ITEA on the launch of REACH Challenge.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Let's start off by having a look at what we'll be covering this evening. We're going to begin with a quick overview of REACH Challenge, including what is REACH Challenge, who can participate and what constitutes a team, and why REACH Challenge instead of another project.
We'll also be discussing the meaningful impact REACH Challenge can have, how it inspires students, including more girls, to really have a passion for STEM, and how it can transform lives, including yours.
And we're going to close out with a complete tour of the REACH Challenge dashboard, including how to sign up and sign in, how to access the Educator's Toolkit and a look at what's inside, how to access sponsors' exclusive discounts and vouchers, how to create a roster and what's required, and also how to submit your project for judging. So what is REACH Challenge? REACH Challenge is an impactful design thinking project for middle school, high school, and college students. Teachers and their students are going to use their STEM skills to reach a member of their community who has a challenge to overcome. Each team then develops a viable, adaptive, or assistive technology solution to help and can submit their project to ITEEA to earn awards. A sample project is included on the website, and we'll have a look at it later.
So who can participate in REACH Challenge? Any student from grades 7 through 12, as well as undergraduate college students, may be on a team. This can be incorporated into a STEM class or an after-school club, such as Boy Scouts, FIRST Robotics, or 4-H. It can also be considered part of a homeschool project. Each REACH Challenge team shall consist of 1 team lead, which is usually a teacher, 1 to 10 students, 1 user expert, and any user expert that happens to be a person under the age of 18 or is an animal should be considered to be part of a user expert, co-user expert, along with their primary caretaker. Teams may also have an optional team mentor. This could be someone who's an engineer, a computer scientist, or anyone that might have some sort of professional skills that they can bring to the team to help.
So why is Reach Challenge different than any other STEM project or competition I've been involved with as an educator? Simply put, it changes lives. About 5 years ago, I introduced Go Baby Go to my robotics students. Go Baby Go is a brilliant adaptive technology movement started by Dr. Cole Galloway from the University of Delaware. We essentially hack ride-on toy cars like Power Wheels into motorized wheelchairs for children who have mobility issues. My students loved it. And since then, we've hacked more than 50 cars for children in need. But as we had more and more people come to us, we realized that there were many more challenges than mobility issues. There were children with visual impairments, children with basic cause and effect therapy needs, and much more. So we expanded our adaptive technology umbrella to include those children as well, and hosted an adaptive technology hackathon. I want to share part of a video my students made about that experience, which conveys more than I could ever say.
I'm Tyler Hilk with Team 1810, and we worked on the hackathon car for Micah. Our kid is visually impaired, but tried to approach the aspect of hearing and sensors. So we have 2 backup sensors and 4 front sensors and side sensors so that we can help him see where he's going. It was a unique challenge.
We're gonna have Burns and McDonald's judges coming over, and they're gonna actually be judging some features that we really liked about the cars.
I did the judging thing. I wasn't exactly sure what that was gonna be all about, but it was actually pretty tough and actually very, very, very cool. This whole day is just awesome.
And then right at the end, we're gonna give the cars out to the kids.
So here in a couple minutes, we'll be giving all of the children their cars. We've already given some of them the cars that the hackathon builders built. Just to see the expression on their faces, it was priceless. To see them dance in their cars and smile and light up. It's really fun. So we're going to have everyone come in here in the varsity gym, and we're going to give them their cars and take one big picture and all have a great time, see them driving around.
My name's Kendra Gagnon. I am the director of Variety KC Go Baby Go, and I am a physical therapist. And what we had here were 20 children and families in the community who came here and got their cars, all custom made for them. The philosophy of Go Baby Go is that everyone has the right to mobility. And so what this really does today is it gives these children the ability not just to move, but to move on their own. It gives them the ability to use a toy that other children their age use, and it gives them the ability to have fun. And so it most powerfully comes across with siblings when they look at their sibling and they say, this is a toy I have or I want, and now we can play together. And suddenly sort of that disability fades into the background, and now everybody's just able to play and have fun.
Go Baby Go gives me a way to show my students that they don't have to wait until some future date when they have a job or have a certain number of degrees or whatever in order to start doing something that changes the world and makes life better for those around them. I want them to know they can do that now. They can use the skills and technology and their passions to help people have better, happier lives.
You can see how powerful it is when STEM students use their skills to directly help someone in need. And there's so many more challenges that can be addressed, from people with visual impairments to older adults and even animals in need of prosthetics. And I truly believe that through ITEEA's Reach Challenge, we give educators absolutely everything they need to connect their students with someone in their community who needs help and help change their lives.
Absolutely. It changes the lives of those in your community because oftentimes the adaptive or assistive technology that a person needs simply cannot be bought in stores. With 3D printing and the maker movement, STEM students can create a customized piece of adaptive tech made specifically for that person. You can literally give someone the gift of inclusion, or independence, or mobility, or the ability to reach something on their own, whether it's a kitchen sink or a life goal. That's powerful, and students are really impacted by that hands-on, real-world application of their STEM skills to use engineering for social good to build a better world. So Reach Challenge changes the students' lives as well. As a mom and a proud mentor, I'm constantly seeking ways to do two things. One, to help recruit more female students to have a passion for STEM. Studies have shown that when educators make the link between STEM and helping professions, girls become more engaged. This is absolutely my experience. PBS KIDS did a segment on our students, and these girls' excitement about engineering and technology is awesome.
Around KC. Today, we had 10 FIRST robotics teams come in to help us modify toy cars for children who are disabled.
It's amazing seeing the kids' faces and the parents' faces because for some of those kids, it's like the first time they actually get to control their own movement. Being able to help these kids as a kid is incredibly life-changing for all of us.
Local stories on KCPT are supported by Girl Scouts, the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art, Science City, and Operation Breakthrough.
The second thing I try to do is infuse social awareness and empathy into the students. Some STEM students could be very cerebral, very in their own heads. But by connecting these students to those in need, their walls come tumbling down and their empathy skyrockets. Here's another very short video about one of our students at the ITEEA conference last year who created an adaptive car for a little girl with hearing impairments. In the video, you can see her signing with her mom, and she is signing more. And she had our student wrapped around her little finger by the end of the event. It is incredible to see the connection they develop.
And oh my gosh, look at that robotic student holding a baby right now. Like, what is happening? You guys are gonna bust the stereotypes about scientists. Like, what is happening?
Isn't that great? That gets me every time. And I have to mention the other life that will be changed by Reach Challenge. Yours. I know all of us got into education because we love helping to shape young minds and make the world a better place. This project, I promise, will fulfill all those warm fuzzies. On a long day when it's 10:30 at night and I'm still grading papers, this is what reminds me of why I wanted to be a teacher. As a teacher, I wanted to make sure that other educators were given everything they need to be successful at Reach Challenge. That's what really sets Reach Challenge apart from other projects like this. The Educator's Toolkit. It's packed with Monday morning ready PowerPoints, worksheets, discussion prompts, videos, hands-on activities, and more to teach your students about empathy, user-centered design, adaptive and assistive technology, safety, prototyping, and so much more. I've already heard from one educator who said it's the best curriculum he's ever seen in his long teaching career. Forget having to make sub-plans or do a ton of research on your own. It's all right here. Even how to find people in your community to help, with flyers and more. There's even a digital coupon book with vouchers and codes for exclusive discounts to STEM resources that can help your team. In fact, let's go ahead now and take you on a tour inside the Reach Challenge dashboard to give you a peek at the toolkit and vouchers. Okay, so I've switched over to the ITEEA Reach Challenge website. And you can just type in reachchallenge.org and it'll bring you straight here. And I'm going to walk through, first of all, just a practice sign up so you can see how that process works. This course is the page. We'll go through the toolkits and stuff later on, but for now I'm going to go ahead and click here on this yellow dot to do a sample registration for a team. Pricing information and stuff is right here. If budget is a problem for your team, then one thing that is a kind of a possible solution to that is to have one team registered, and that way you have access to the toolkit. And then if you have like a class competition, then you can choose the best adaptive tech piece from that kind of in your school, in your class competition to submit to Reach Challenge for judging. So I'm going to actually go ahead and work through just a sample here real quick, and I'm just going to use kind of test as our kind of default for this. I'll do a high school team, and we'll just do test as well. This would be where we put in our address, and here we go. As a member, you would click yes. As a non-member, you would click no. Pro tip, if you're not a member of ITEA, you can actually save money by joining ITEA, then registering. You can save more than the difference in price between the two. So there's our second page here. Notice that you don't have to know who is on your team yet when you register. You can figure that out later on. So I'm going to say no here to the more than one team and hit next again, which is going to take me to the payment screen. And there's a couple of options here. If you have a school credit card, lucky you, you can just go ahead and pay with a credit card. Otherwise, most people I think are probably going to have to receive an invoice or purchase order that they can give to their administrator for approval. Or if you want to write a check, you can do that as well. So you're going to pick whichever one suits your needs, and based on the address information that you sent, you will receive an emailed invoice, and that should do it. That completes registration. So once your registration has been processed and your payment has been processed, you will receive an email that looks just like this one, entitled "Welcome to the Reach Challenge." And this is kind of an important email because this has your team's unique identifier number, and it also has your login credentials to log into your team. So when you log in, this is on the ITEA website, you'll log in with those credentials. You'll see our password has been removed, just for obvious reasons. But then as the team lead, you're going to log into the dashboard, and that's where you can go to manage your roster, input your release forms, all that kind of stuff, and we'll do that right now. So now that you've got the email with your login information, you can go to the ITEA website and go ahead and log in. That's this green button up here. We're already logged in, so you would go ahead and put in your credentials there. And then under Manage Profiles, this is where you'll see your team. Now, if you have signed up multiple teams, you would see multiple teams listed under here. So you reach, and then multiple team numbers that you could then click on. So I'm going to go ahead and click on our sample team here. And the first thing that I would probably do when coming through, now there's all these tabs here. We're going to go through all of those, but I'm going to go ahead and show you where the Toolkit Download Center is first. So this is kind of the welcome page. And if we click there, we'll go right to the Toolkit Download Center. The way this basically works is here's the full Toolkit download right here, which is kind of what I would recommend doing. This is a Google Drive download. So it'll pull up this page, and then in order to download the toolkit here, you actually go up to the little download button up here in the corner, and you'll click that. I'm not going to do so right now because I don't want to download it right now, but that's what you click, and you can download the whole toolkit. If you want to download each individual section independently, if you'll just click on one of the sections, then it brings up each of the files that is in there. The Assistive Tech PDF and the Assistive Tech PowerPoint, those are actually the same file, just in two separate formats. But the Lesson plan is really the critical piece of the puzzle here. And we'll go through that, a sample lesson plan here in just a moment. So this has the unit outline, the videos and discussion prompts, all the activities and the worksheets are all contained in this lesson plan area. And each area, each unit actually has at least one slideshow as well. So the first and last units to visit, however, I would like to point out, should be the submission guidelines unit. This has all of the important information with the official rules, what you're going to submit in great detail, the bill of materials template, a sample technical paper, and some information about technical writing and videography as well as a user expert flyer to go ahead and help you guys find a user expert from your community.
Let's take a look for a second at just one of the units in the toolkit. So this is an example. This is the empathy and safety considerations unit. And, you know, as an educator, it's up to you to decide which of these activities that you do or do not incorporate into your classroom. I just wanted to bring up, though, that these units aren't just about STEM, but also about the character development that it takes to succeed in Reach Challenge. So in this one, we talk about empathy and safety considerations. Each lesson plan will start with an overview here, which kind of goes through the different portions of that unit. And it kind of gives a suggested order as well. There's definitions. Now this is really the portion for the teacher. Kind of discussion prompts, videos to play, then also worksheets. And for example, with this worksheet, it talks about teaching people to see and feel the world through another's eyes and to really describe the different levels of empathy that exist to try to relate to the people here in these pictures. And it also goes into how to conduct a user interview, which is so key when doing Reach Challenge, to really get to the root of what is the challenge that the user expert needs help with. Tips on how to be a good listener and how to ask good questions. These are so important, and it also is wrapped up into a fun activity where students will be interviewing one another and designing an experience for them. And it even shows how to conduct a good user interview. So I just wanted to point this out that, you know, the toolkit is really what makes this experience unique and has additional resources, and it is aligned with next generation science standards and ITEA standards for technological literacy.
So back here in the dashboard, I'm going to show you a couple of other important features of the dashboard. And the first one I'd like to show you just very quickly is the vouchers. Now, this is our inaugural year, as you know, but we are working to grow the number of vouchers so that teams can get discounts, product donations, things like that. And those will only grow over the years as Reach Challenge matures, obviously. But those are really good sources or resources for your team. And the other thing I really wanted to talk about is the team roster and how to get your team members registered for Reach Challenge. So you'll see that right here on the profile page that right over here is your MS1001 team member reg form. This is your registration form that you as the team lead need to fill out, as much as all of your students that are part of the team, any mentors that are part of the team, and definitely your user expert and co-user expert, if there is one, also need to fill this out. In order to make sure that that happens, what you would need to do is copy this link here and paste it. This is a team-specific link. So if you fill this out, then that would register you for just, for this team. To give you an idea of what the form looks like, it's just a Google form. I'm sure many of you have seen these before. You're going to put in your name, age, your role, whether you're a team lead, mentor, user expert, or student team member. If you're under 18, they need to put in their parent and guardian name, a parent and guardian email, and then there's, of course, a liability release as a kind of standard for things like this. And once they submit that, then what would happen is that it populates here in your team dashboard, which is the Your Team tab. So once you click on that, all of the students, user experts, everybody that have signed up for your team will show up in here. And your main job as a team lead is to make sure that everybody on your team is in here with the consent agreement over here on the right hand side, and all the parent guardian name if they're under 18. That should all be in here prior to your submission, but you don't have to have that done like right away, just before you hit submit on your project. So lastly, I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the deliverables and the project submission and kind of how that's going to work. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on the project submission tab here in the dashboard. But you might notice that there's nothing to submit yet, since the submission application system it's not officially open yet. So once we are open for submissions, then an email will be sent out to all of the team leads, and it'll also show up here in the dashboard. But I did want to take a few minutes to show you through the team lead guide, which has all of the submission guidelines, rules, and tips. This is straight from the toolkit in that first section, and it talks again a little bit about what Reach Challenge is and what makes up a team, which we've already covered. So I'm going to go through just like the 3 big things that you have to submit as part of Reach Challenge. And the first thing is really just your totally up-to-date team roster. So we've already gone through how to sort of populate that team area in the dashboard. And so once all of your release forms and team members have signed up and your release forms are in, you're in good shape on the team roster front. Okay, so which brings us to the technical paper. Now the technical paper should be a 3 to 5 page paper, and there's a lot of details in here about how it should be, but the basic gists are that don't make the font too small or the margins too narrow to try to fit in all your information that you want to fit in. With technical writing, brevity is appreciated, but also you need to say everything that you want to say. And there's some specifications over here about kind of some basic structure of that technical paper, and there's also of course resources in here about technical writing as well, to kind of that you can show your students, to sort of show them the differences between a paper that they might write in English class versus a technical paper they might write as part of an engineering project. So this will all be set up as a PDF, and this is really the main thing you're going to be submitting, as a 3 to 5 page PDF. Now, that PDF must also include your bill of materials and any works cited. And I should point out here that the bill of materials and the works cited does not count as part of your 5-page maximum. And that is because depending on the amount of detail or the number of items in your bill of materials or the number of sources you cite, that could get long, and we don't want to count that against teams. But we do want that information. So one last thing about the bill of materials here is that there is a template that is posted in the toolkit. However, you're welcome to make your own if you wish, but the toolkit template for the bill of materials is just a reasonable just example for you to use. And then finally, the video. So your team needs to make a video that is no longer than 3 minutes, created by members of the team. This does not have to be a highly edited, work of art. We understand that not all teams have, video editing capabilities that are super advanced or anything like that. If you have those capabilities, feel free to use them. But even in our example video that we put out, just to kind of show here about Isaac, that video is, relatively lo-fi on purpose. So you can see that in the example is not, you don't have to go all out of your way to make it super amazing. You make it as amazing as you can, but within the constraints of your capabilities and materials and tools that you have available to you. So once you've got your video complete, this is the kind of the key. You need to upload it to YouTube as unlisted. Okay, it needs to be unlisted, and but not set to private or password protected. Okay, so basically anybody that has that link can watch it, but if you don't have the link, you can't. So that is the point of that. And then you would put the link to the YouTube video right at the top of your paper. So I'll flip over here and show you this sample paper that we put together just as an example of what a Reach Challenge submission could look like. Once again, this is, on the shorter side. If your team can do better, then they should definitely, expand beyond what we've put in here, but this is just to show an example. And you can see the video link right here for Isaac's video right in the paper. Also, I want to be very clear, make sure that you put your team unique identifier number on this, and please don't put information about your students or your school in your video, and try to not wear like school t-shirts in your video, because this is meant to be blind judging, so that when we judge them, we don't know what school we're judging for, and that way it's fair and everything's on the up and up. Well, I'd like to finish by first saying thank you to all of you who have given your time and energy and attention to this presentation. And I hope that it answered many of your questions about Reach Challenge. I encourage you all to take the Reach Challenge. Reach out and help others. Help them reach over, reach up, reach goals, reach inclusion, reach independence, reach mobility, and reach one another. Thank you. At this time, we'd like to go ahead and open it up for questions.
Okay, so first of all, I would just like to say thank you to all of you who have joined us this evening to listen in. And so we'll just kind of start taking some questions. I see one here about would adaptive clothing be okay for this challenge? The answer is yes. The real focus of Reach Challenge is to do user-centered design. So if your user would benefit from adaptive clothing that helps them in a way that is like specific to them, then absolutely that would be a great thing to come up with and put together for that individual. But it's really all about the individual.
Yeah, and again, I think that's to attract girls again to the program and I've seen a couple of schools do stuff like that with adaptive clothing. Children that were in wheelchairs or use something that was a better way to put on their pants over their legs. So yes, I think adaptive clothing is an excellent idea.
Question of how often should after-school clubs meet this challenge? That is entirely up to you. I mean, I've done really big projects like being a first robotics coach for a lot of years, and that takes a lot of hours. I've also done smaller competitions and design projects that are a lot more flexible. And I would put this in that more flexible category, especially given that your timeline is pretty long from now. It's not due until December 20th. And so
I would really encourage you probably to activities you might want to incorporate into the club. And then that would really give you, and all you have to do is sign up one team to get access to the toolkit. So as soon as you get the toolkit, I would go through and say, okay, these are the activities we're going to do in the club. And, if you decide to do, for example, a Go Baby Go car, you obviously do not have to. But if you do, that is, that can take a day or two, So it really depends on what you're doing and what activities from the toolkit you want to incorporate.
it varies. Okay, so did you like that question? Okay. Mark, if you feel like you have further questions about the meeting schedule, feel free, throw them out there. I see the question about are there tips on teams not copying existing products? So, I mean, I've done product design classes for the last several years, and one of the first places we look is just Amazon. If it's already out there in Amazon, then something like that. But What I'd also like to say is that the more specifically focused that your project can be on that particular user, the better off you are.
I would add several activities in the toolkit that encourage you, that provide links to online resources that already provide adaptive technology. There's also one of the activities is to pretend you are a parent of a child with spina bifida or cerebral palsy and see what existing tech already is out there. So again, I think, you know, market research is part of that, to see what already exists. And to see if there's something that can be adapted. I mean, you can adapt something that already exists to cater more towards your user experts.
That's really the purpose of that whole intellectual property. There's a whole section of the toolkit about intellectual property and how that all works. And so that is the whole purpose of that area, is to show you sort of where the lines are drawn about you know, what you can get. This is a good question. Okay, what does the Winning Reach Challenge team win? Okay. You want to take this one? Or?
Sure.
Okay.
We're so excited to, you know, partnering with ITEA, and they have committed to the top achieving team will receive a minimum of $2,000 to support their STEM program. As well, the team lead would get a paid registration to ITEA's 2020 conference in Baltimore, and the students would receive a STEM swag bag. So that's awesome. And then all of the finalist teams would also get the swag bag, and the team lead would also get the paid registration to the ITEA 2020 conference.
So I hope that answers that question. Let's see. I like the empathy piece. What are other lessons? There's maybe I can do a screen share. Yeah, I'm going to do a screen share and kind of show you through it here. So
all of the units are listed on the ITEA challenge page. And so those include user-centered design, the empathy and safety one that I walked you through already. There's an intellectual property one here in the toolkit.
okay, can you guys see our screen right now? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm going to go here to Toolkit, and then we'll scroll down here. So there are 6 different Toolkit sections right now, and they are the first one and the last one. You can almost see this like a circle. You start and end with submission guidelines. The next one is assistive technology, basically exploring like what is assistive and adaptive technology. Why is it important? Right, there is a difference between the two. And one of the things I kind of want to say, I'm going to digress for just a second, is that part of the reason this is so important is that there aren't really a lot of companies out there that are working with individuals with disabilities, because frankly, there's just not a lot of profit in it in terms of meeting that specific user's needs. Companies really can't profit off of that, and so those people really just get kind of left behind. So this is sort of an effort at crowdsourcing the solution to the assistive technology gap out there in the country. So
yeah, and the other thing I would say is participated in a lot of education projects and challenges like this. And one thing that we always find lacking is that there's not enough resources for the educator. You know, that they kind of like leave you on your own. And so we really tried to provide everything an educator would need, you know, to not be scared to try this project with their STEM students. Yeah, so assistive technology, user-centered design, empathy and safety, a whole section on engineering prototypes, another section on intellectual property and open source versus copyright, and patent. And in the submission guidelines, there's also information about technical writing, photography, videography, and those things. So that even the submission guidelines has resources for educators.
And each one of these sections kind of mirrors that one we showed you, the empathy and safety one, where it has several pages of like kind of teacher information, student worksheets, activities. Some of them they're really interesting. The user-centered design one has hilarious. Maybe we can pull it up here in a little bit.
And then there's also a PowerPoint that goes with every single one of those units.
There's a PowerPoint. It's meant to be like ready to go. You don't have to do anything to it. You just start. Okay, how much the adaptive tech solutions that teams come up with usually cost to make? Okay, so the maximum amount that is allowed for the competition is $500. But there's nothing to say that getting close to that $500 mark makes you a more viable entry. There's cost, amount of money spent on the adaptive tech that you have created is not a factor in the judging. So,
and like an example, that's a $20 solution.
Right.
$20, and that changed that child's life to be able to have independent work his own kitchen sink.
Right.
So, and if you're doing an app or something like that, I mean, the cost can be very minimal.
Keep the intellectual property for our invention. The short answer is yes. It is up to your team to decide what route to go, whether you want to kind of make your product open source and put it out there, or whether you would like to try to pursue a patent for it. But the school and the team have full rights to all the intellectual property from your invention. I should point out, however, that as part of this design challenge, then there is, as part of the design challenge, basically, we're going to post these videos, and we might post pictures and things like that. So we're gonna promote what we see. So if you don't want pictures or videos of your product out there because you want to patent it, then you should probably try to file a provisional patent in advance there. Okay. Oh, it doesn't. Okay, so let's look. Okay, next question.
How many hours of materials did you all together great through the toolkit? So a lot of the activities, again, are very flexible. Truly, there is a semester's worth. If you wanted to do everything and you wanted to take on a very complex adaptive or assistive technology project, you could absolutely turn this into a semester project. And you don't have to. This could be something that an after school club does. Right. Over the course, I mean, when we do Go Baby Go community builds, you can build a Go Baby Go car off of a manual in, a matter of 4 to 6 hours with some prep. So there is enough content to make it.
I mean, you could pretty easily spend a week or two on any one section of the toolkit. I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I would 6 weeks possibly if you're going through all of the activities.
Yeah, I think 6 to 8 weeks you could probably get through everything, but then you have to work on the product, So
there's a short list of what the judges do. Absolutely.
Yes.
There's
Should I screen share again?
I don't know.
Oh, are we still sharing? I think we're still sharing.
I'm still sharing. Submission guidelines has a rubric that outlines exactly what the judges will be looking at. I can see if I can pull that up.
Yeah, let's we're going to stop sharing for a second, try to find that, and then we'll reshare again. So, but I can't. We have to look at the questions real quick too.
I'll read one for you.
Okay, great.
Is there a way to ask questions once we get underway?
Yes, there is an email that is, I believe, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it is reach@iteea.org. And if you send an email, if you send an email to reach@iteea.org, we all get that email. And we've had a few questions so far, and we're all over responding to those. We take it very seriously when people ask questions. Okay, so we have this scoring guide pulled up here. So let's come back over here. All right, I'm going to reshare my screen and show what the scoring guide looks like. This one here. Screen. Okay. All right, there we go here. Okay, so hopefully you can see on our screen the official scoring guide. This is in the toolkit. This is in that first section of the toolkit. And this basically shows there's a 200-point scoring guide on here. the 4 big sections of it are, first of all, does it meet the specs? This should all say yes. As long as that all says yes, we're gonna continue with the scoring guide. And then we're gonna look at the user-centered design process, the product effectiveness, and the submission quality and innovation. And those are just kind of the big categories. I would say that this scoring guide is actually a pretty important guide to your team, as is any scoring guide. I mean, just like, when you hand out a scoring guide to your students, that they should look at it and judge their work accordingly. That's wise advice for this particular design challenge as well. So I hope that answers that question. Let's see if I can do screen sharing. Okay. Can we make our idea public? It's a good question. I'll let you take that.
Yes. So we would prefer for teams not to make their invention public until after the judging is done, so that it doesn't influence any sort of judging. A lot of times, quite frankly, adaptive tech like this in schools gets a lot of media attention. It's very exciting, and we want to promote that, but we want to make sure that the judging is over. So that will happen in February, is when everyone will be alerted to what their place was, whether or not they were a finalist or a winner.
Okay. Let's see here. Other questions. Another question under here. Okay, is there a deadline for submissions? Okay, so the answer is yes. There is a deadline for submissions, and that deadline is December 20th. Friday, December 20th. I think it's at 5 p.m. But that information is in the toolkit. And midnight. It's either midnight or 5 p.m. on December 20th. So the idea there was to give you pretty much the whole semester, and then have it done before the holidays really hit. People don't want to have to work on their submissions anymore. So I think that we kind of worked out that timing, essentially according to like what I would like as a teacher, and hopefully that works for everybody else as well. We can't reveal how many teams are currently registered right now, because I don't want anybody to make judgments based on that. So, okay.
Oh, and Katie pointed out that Eastern.
Yeah.
So
there we go.
There you go.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate you being here. And we'll look forward to seeing your submission. Thank you so much. We are getting kind of close to the end here. Steve has kind of recommended here that maybe we do an additional webinar for registered teams who are registered kind of by the end of the month to share tips and tricks and things like that. And we would definitely consider that if there was demand for that. So yeah, if there's interest for that, we would definitely be willing to take that on. And then if there's any other questions or comments or feedback, please feel free to throw that out, and we're ready to go here.
Hey, Gavin and Andrea, this is Steve. First of all, thank you guys for doing this tonight, and Nancy for running it. We appreciate it, and all the participants. I do want to say that that chat that I sent just to you about that was not to fully commit you to it, but it was to sort of think like, so if there are a lot of similar questions that come in through emails and so forth,
sure,
maybe it would help to sort of do a follow-up. We could record it and then have it there for the participants who have registered and have those similar kinds of questions. That's all.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, that's something we would definitely consider if people would like to have that.
Yeah, gotcha.
Are there any other questions or anything? I see all the people down here, and feel free to unmute or type in the chat. I guess, Nancy, if you have anything you'd like to say, but or Steve, but otherwise, really, I just again wanted to thank everybody that's been supportive of our work with Reach Challenge. This has been kind of a dream of Andrea and I to make this a reality, and we're very excited to see it, becoming an actual reality. So thank all of you.
Yeah, and just on a person's life or an animal's life or in your community is really exciting.
All right.
Yeah, I will say that the brainchild was all yours, and we're sort of glad to be able to be the host for this and run with it because it matches everything that we're trying to teach with technological and engineering literacy for all students. It really hits a home run. So we really appreciate it. We hope we can get a lot of participants. And for that middle school level, high school level, collegiate level, I think there's basically limitless possibilities. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
And I wanted to say thank you, Gavin and Andrea. This was such a terrific amount of information, so well organized and planned out. You guys have done a terrific job putting it together, and I know that the teams are going to benefit from this, as are the recipients. So
Yeah,
thank you very much. To everyone else, before we close this session, I would like to say that thank you, all participants, for joining us. I hope that you will have access to this recording when the meeting is over. It will be archived, so you can take advantage of that. And if you have any questions, you can send it to itea@itea.org, and we'll be happy to help you. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Good night.